Hi, everybody. Sarah Kernol's here, your breakup and dating coach, who's here with 10 tips over 10 days of how to get on and move on with your life after a breakup. If you missed yesterday was day one. Go catch up. What are you waiting for? Go back. You don't want to miss any single one of these because they are going to build off of each other. You're going to want to hear them all. So watch day one and come back and watch day two. So day two, tip two. This one is for anyone out there who's like me, who is a redater, person who goes back to their ex and tries to get back with their ex after they've been broken up with for a little while. That's been me my entire adult life, pretty much. So this one is especially for you all, my friends, but this is going to be useful even if you don't identify as somebody who goes back to their exes and redates. So let's talk about that period of time right after a breakup. That period of time where you are in shock. You are in deep, deep grief. You might be in anger. You are definitely in heartbreak. This is a really, really uncomfortable time. And I want you to know that going back to your ex does not solve the problem. So, tip number two is all about knowing that it's okay for right now to feel like things are not great, that your life is changing, to be really uncomfortable, unhappy, angry, sad, all of those feelings. It is okay to be feeling those feelings, and there is nothing wrong. There is no problem to solve. Now, let me tell you a little story from my own life of where this comes from. So I dated this one guy several times. We would have a dramatic breakup, and then a few months would go by, and we had strong chemistry, we had a strong connection, and we would start dating again. But it didn't solve the problem, the ultimate problem, that neither one of us was actually really healthy. We weren't dating from a really healthy place, and we weren't compatible for a healthy long-term relationship. We were pretty darn compatible for an unhealthy relationship. And I think we both knew that that's not really what we wanted deep down. So we would keep breaking up. But the chemistry was there, the connection was there. We would keep getting back together. In one of these particular breakups, I I'm so embarrassed to admit that this is what I said, but we were going through the breakup and I knew what was coming because we'd broken up and gotten back together and broken up, and I knew what was coming in this breakup phase. And I knew in that breakup phase what my life would look like would be devastation, heartache, pain, a lot of crying. I typically put on weight because I would eat a lot of food, like ice cream. I would drink a lot of wine. Definitely like late night snacking. So I definitely was trying to eat to avoid feeling my feelings and to soothe my feelings. So I knew weight gain was coming. And I knew I'd be doing a lot of comparison of seeing all these other people who were perfectly fine being single, who were perfectly fine dating, who seemed to move on from their exes with no problems at all. That was not me. I was looking at them like they were crazy. And gosh, there must be something wrong with me because I can't stop eating this food. I can't stop feeling this awful. I don't want to date, but I'm going to just because apparently that's what I'm supposed to do in order for me to get on with somebody. And I hated all of that. So, back to the embarrassing part of the story. We are in the middle of breaking up, and he's telling me it's not going to work. And he's a very compassionate, patient person in some respects. And I remember crying and saying, I don't want to be single again. That means I have to date again. I actually like I wailed it because I was sobbing so much. Um, gosh, I if he's watching this, I am so sorry because that is probably the most uncomfortable thing to hear during a breakup. But I said it because it was true. For me, it was really uncomfortable. And so I kept going through this pattern, and I would do that I'd have a guy that I'd date for a few years, on again, off again, on again, off again. And the reason I did it was because I thought I was a problem. I thought my big feelings were a problem, that the way to solve this problem was to go back to the relationship so that I wouldn't have to feel awful anymore. I thought if I was in the relationship, well, at least then I have a boyfriend and I don't have to face all these sad feelings, these angry feelings, this heartbreak, this emptiness I'm feeling inside of me. I can sort of fill that with my relationship and problem solved, right? Right? Like the problem goes away if I have a relationship. It's not true. Uh, First off, because your feelings are not a problem. Your feelings aren't a problem that need to be solved. Your problems need to be felt and processed. And your feelings might be uncomfortable. It is really uncomfortable to be angry, especially if you grow up in a home where it's not okay to be angry, where anger is not allowed or anger is not safe, where you witness people being angry and you don't feel safe. So then you create stories of it's not okay to be angry because then it's dangerous. Or where you're never allowed to actually feel your sadness, where you kind of have to rush through it. And there was the story of like, it's okay, you're gonna be okay, you're gonna be fine. It's okay, don't be sad, don't cry. Oh, don't cry. It's okay. Does that sound familiar to anybody? And I'm not blaming our parents because they were doing the best that they possibly could. But what we learn from that is that it's not okay to be sad. I have to get through sadness as quickly as possible, and I have to put a smile on my face. And as an adult, that means sadness is a problem, and I need to solve sadness. Not that I have to feel sadness, there's a big difference, but I have to solve it as if it's a problem, and I need to get back to having a smile on my face as quickly as possible. And if I can't figure out how to do that in a really natural way, of like I look around me and I see that everybody else has gotten it figured out and I don't have it figured out, so I must be doing it wrong. And the only way I know how to make this be better is if I'm in a relationship. Well, that's why I kept running back to my exes. There were a few reasons, but that's a big reason. We'll talk about the other reasons. I am a person who I am happy to live my life out loud so that I can learn these lessons the hard way, and then you don't have to. I want to help you so that you can learn from my mistakes. You can learn from the lessons that I learned the hard way of trying to figure it out as I went along. That's all we're doing. We're all just trying to figure it out as we go along. Nobody has it all figured out. I've just lived a few mistakes, and I'm willing to share them and tell those stories with all of you. So, tip number 2, know that your feelings aren't a problem to be solved. They're just feelings. They're not bad and they're not good. They're just feelings. It's a part of being a human being, and it's a really natural part to have feelings after this really big emotional traumatic thing that you just went through. Can we just take a moment and normalize the fact that those feelings are normal? They're expected. They are welcome. They're allowed. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to be mad. Okay? So that is day 2. We're going to get into some more tips. But first, did this resonate for you? What landed? What did you really resonate with? And do you have somebody that needs to hear this? Do you have somebody that you should share this message with of it's okay to be feeling what you're feeling right now? We all have that friend who apologizes for crying, of like, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry. I promise I'm trying not to cry. I'm sorry, I'm crying. Maybe they need to hear it's okay to cry. It's not a problem to be solved. Okay? Go ahead and share this video if there's somebody that you think needs this message. Tag a friend, or just let me know what's your takeaway. Okay. We'll be back tomorrow with another tip.